This is Steve Zeltzer with WorkWeek, and this afternoon we're talking with Roger Marenco, who is president of Transport Workers Union Local 250a, and he and his union have been involved in a struggle with COVID in protecting the membership and the public as far as the protection of workers in MTA in San Francisco. Welcome to WorkWeek.
Thank you, Steve.
So, Roger, why don't you talk about the history of when COVID hit and how it affected your members and the struggle of your members to protect themselves and their families?
I always tell people that we, the operators, we on the buses, we are the bloodline that gives life to the city, because we literally give life to the city. We take people from point A to point B. We take everybody to work, school, church, shopping, the doctor's office, you name it. However, when the COVID-19 coronavirus hit, I retracted that phrase and I worded it as we have now become the syringe that is infecting the city and county of San Francisco with this virus, because we are transporting the virus on our buses. And it was a total and complete paradigm shift in the way that we were operating and the way that we were just viewing ourselves, the service that we were providing, and our health and safety. So it was scary, it was new, it was different, it was dangerous. We really did not want to be out here, especially given the fact that we were transporting, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say this, we were transporting essentially non-essential people, non-essential workers. We were transporting a whole bunch of people that were homeless, transients, vagabonds, etc., So that was really, really scary for us.
And the city, the Public Department of Public Health, OSHA, were they involved in trying to inform your members about the disease, the virus, and instituting some protection, at least PPE and other protection for your members?
No. It was just continuing service operator. I think the only reason why we started receiving any personal protective equipment was because the union, reached out to the media. We got in contact with our sources in the press. We went to the Board of Supervisors and we let them know, hey, we are working here under unsafe, dangerous working conditions. We don't have personal protective equipment. We're being exposed, and if you guys don't do something about this, well, then we might shut the city down and nobody will go anywhere until we get the proper personal protective equipment that we are in need of.
And what did your members do to try to protect themselves who continued to work?
I would call it guerrilla tactics. We were just doing things on our own, things that the agency should have been implementing since day one. For example, taping up the fare box, putting tape on the floor to symbolize a big X, meaning don't stand, within 6 feet of me. Also, not utilizing the front doors due to social distancing, not collecting cash fares because the fare box is, 1.5 feet away from the operator, also pertaining to social distancing, and minimizing the amount of passengers per vehicle, maybe just a certain amount of people per vehicle. So that's what we were doing, and I guess I refer to it as guerrilla tactics because we were not authorized to do that. However, we did it in the name of health and safety, because when it comes to health and safety, we're not going to wait for an entity or an agency to give us the approval when we know that it is putting ourselves at risk and in danger. If we need to do something in the name of health and safety, even if we don't have permission or authority, we're going to do it to protect ourselves, to protect our families, to protect the general public.
And were your members infected? Have any of them died? I know in New York, over 100 TWU members, transit workers, have died, and many have been sickened by the virus.
Yes, some of our members have contracted the virus, and no, nobody has passed away from it.
And the issue of Cal-OSHA in California, they're responsible for protecting the health and safety. Were any Cal-OSHA complaints filed?
That I don't know.
Do you think that they should have been investigating transit agencies and trying to find out what the situation was to protect the transit workers?
Yes, absolutely. The way that I see it is San Francisco is usually the leader when it comes to health and safety, and they like to promote themselves, the city and county of San Francisco, as, being the first. Hey, you guys, gay rights, we're the first. Hey, you guys, immigrant rights, we're the first. Hey, you guys, undocumented rights, we're the first. But when it came to the health and safety of the operators, oh, man, they were not the first. They were the last. And that right there should have been investigated. Yes, I fully agree, 100%. We were last. We were the last to be thought of and taken into account in regards to that.
And were any of your members retaliated against for trying to protect our health and safety?
A lot of them were harassed, intimidated, bullied by upper management. Hey, you better do this, or you're not gonna get that. If you don't do this, then you're gonna get this. I mean, it's always a cat and mouse game, when it comes to sort of health and safety. So, yeah, some of our members were bullied, harassed, intimidated.
And now the city, Mayor London Breed, is saying that there's a big financial crisis, and they're going to institute possible layoffs of public workers. Also, they're looking to cut the, or increase the cost of benefits of pensions and health care. What do you think about the idea of public workers taking concessions to deal with the economic decline, the depression we're going into?
No concessions. On Friday, May the 22nd, we had the MTA and TWU had a meeting, and there were some board of supervisors that were also present in this meeting. There were about maybe 25, 30 people total on this sort of budget town hall meeting that we had, and I made a public declaration. I said, Jeff Tumlin, you are the number one highest paid person in SFMTA. I am the number one highest paid person in TWU Local 250a. And I would like to make a public declaration right here, right now, in front of everybody. I, Roger Marenco, will take a 10% pay reduction in my pay if you, Jeff Tumlin, take a 10% pay reduction in your pay for the next 12 months. And that funding will go specifically towards the funding of the Back First program, which the agency is planning on canceling, even though that program, Back First, has helped thousands of operators over the past 19 years that it has been in existence. So what do you say, Jeff Tumlin? Between me and you, if we're going to start cutting, let's start cutting at the top. What do you say, Jeff? And he said, I'll think about it and I'll get back to you. So those are the type of cuts that I'm thinking about. Start cutting at the top.
And what do you think about the fact that San Francisco has over 75 billionaires, California has 170 billionaires, and yet Governor Newsom is instituting a pay cut of 10%. They're trying to get workers to pay for this crisis when you have some of the greatest wealth in the world right here in San Francisco and California.
I think it's an absolute joke that we are in this situation and in this predicament when there are, what'd you say, 100 billionaires in the state of California?
170 billionaires.
Wow. 170. With that amount, not only could they bail out the entire state of California and save everybody's jobs, health, safety, everybody's pension, everybody's retirement, everybody's health care, but they can even go above and beyond that. So for the city and county of San Francisco to start saying that cuts need to be implemented at the bottom, why don't you walk the walk? Why don't you, since you're talking the talk, why don't you walk the walk and put your salary up for being cut, just like I put my salary up for being cut. Start cutting at the top.
And how have you, in this situation of the pandemic, how have you been able to communicate with your members? I know that you established a channel, YouTube channel to communicate with them, but this pandemic, this virus has really transformed the ability of people to have union meetings and other kind of communication. How have you dealt with that and trying to keep your membership informed about what is happening?
It's been extremely difficult. However, we have utilized technology to the best of our abilities. And yes, I did have the the YouTube channel. That was implemented a couple of years ago for the operators. We also have many different social network sites, such as the Facebook page, where we have about 1,000 of our members on there. And then, of course, we also have the other social network sites, such as WeChat and the what's the other one called? WeChat, WhatsApp. So, on top of that, we've also we had our first Zoom meeting this month. Since we were not able to have a general membership meeting in person, we had a Zoom town hall Q&A. So we've been doing the best that we can in terms of keeping our members up to date with the most recent developments.
Yeah, I talked with one of your members, and he was very appreciative of the fact that you had a Zoom meeting and people could ask questions about the finances, what's happening in the union, and there could be an exchange on this Zoom for your membership to have some kind of democratic process and discussion about what's happening in your union.
Yeah, we're not going to let this virus stop us from educating and organizing our membership. And those are the two single most fundamental elements of any and every movement, educating ourselves and organizing ourselves. And so we are not going to let anything or anyone stop us from educating ourselves and organizing ourselves.
Now, nationally, McConnell, the Republican, has said that they don't want to provide any additional funding for state, local governments unless there are attacks on pensions and benefits of public workers and kind of holding the public workers in ransom. And also, they're making an effort to destroy the post office and to privatize it. What do you see this attack is all about? You think that public workers, transit workers and others are being targeted nationally to pay for this crisis?
They absolutely are being targeted. If this were, if the banks were in danger, oh man, they would jump immediately to, secure funding for them. If multinational corporations were going under, oh boy, they would jump on that bandwagon immediately to bail them out. But when it comes to the average blue-collar worker, nah, you throw them under the bus. When it comes to senior citizens, nah, you throw them under the bus. When it comes to elderly, sick people, children, people of color, etc., you just throw them under the bus. But when it comes to multinational corporations and banks and billionaires, oh, you have to bail them out according to the government. And that is completely a backwards way of thinking. And that's how revolutions occur, and that's when revolutions occur. So if they keep going in that direction, guess what? History repeats itself, and that is the evolution of the revolution right there.
And, I mean, one of the things that is, I think, necessary is that public workers there be a united front of all working people, but also public workers to defend public services, public education, public transit. That seems to be a necessity. Has there been any effort of public worker unions to come together and stand united against budget cuts and attacks on conditions and benefits?
We are working with the San Francisco Labor Council to come together and organize in that manner. So absolutely, yes. Thank
you. We've been talking with Roger Marenco, who's president of Transport Workers Union Local 250a. Thanks for joining us on WorkWeek and talking about the conditions, the struggles, health and safety struggles, and survival of your membership. So thanks for joining us on WorkWeek, Roger.
Thank you.